I'm a 32-year-old woman married to my husband, who's 34. We've been together for 6 years, and for the most part, our marriage has been smooth sailing. We're both financially stable. My husband works in tech, and I work in marketing. On top of that, I inherited a significant amount of money from my grandfather a few years ago. He was a savvy businessman and left me a clear stipulation in his will. The money had to go into a trust for any future children I might have. It was non-negotiable, and frankly, I agreed with his decision. The trust fund was meant to provide a secure future for my children, free from anyone's interference, including mine. When our daughter Lily was born 2 years ago, I set up the trust fund just as my grandfather intended. The terms were strict. No one, not even my husband or I, could access the funds. The money would remain untouched until Lily turned 25, at which point it would belong to her entirely. I didn't think much of it at the time. It seemed like a smart, responsible thing to do, and it gave me peace of mind knowing Lily's future was secure. Enter my in-laws, John and Carol. On the surface, they appear well off. They live in a big house, drive fancy cars, and take vacations to exotic places. But anyone who knows them well can see the cracks in the facade. They've always been reckless with money. John has a gambling problem, and Carol is obsessed with get-rich-quick schemes. They've made terrible investment decisions over the years, and while they've managed to keep up appearances, it's clear they're not as financially stable as they pretend to be. The first sign of trouble came during a family dinner a couple of months ago. My husband and I were at their house, enjoying what I thought would be a casual evening. At some point, the conversation shifted to Lily. My mother-in-law, Carol, casually mentioned the trust fund. She said she'd heard about it from my husband and wanted to know more. I was caught off guard, but I explained the basics, how it was set up, the legal protections, and the fact that it was for Lily's future. I didn't think it was a big deal. But then John chimed in, saying something like, "It's great that you're planning for the future, but wouldn't it make more sense to keep that money accessible? You never know when the family might need it." He said it so casually, like it was the most logical thing in the world. I was polite but firm. I told them the trust was legally airtight and couldn't be touched, even if I wanted to. That was the end of it, or so I thought. Looking back, I should have seen the red flags when Carol laughed and said, "Family should come first, don't you think?" It wasn't just a passing comment. There was a certain edge to her tone, like she was testing the waters. I brushed it off at the time, but now I realize that was just the beginning. A week later, John and Carol showed up at our house unannounced. This isn't unusual for them. They've always had a habit of dropping by without warning. They said they wanted to talk, so I invited them in. Once we were sitting down, they got straight to the point. They wanted me to adjust the terms of the trust fund. They called it a family safety net and argued that it was only fair for the money to be available in case of emergencies. I was stunned. It was such a blatant request, and I couldn't believe they were serious. I calmly reiterated what I'd told them before. The trust fund was locked down. I couldn't change the terms even if I wanted to. But they wouldn't let it go. They kept pushing, saying it was irresponsible to hoard that kind of money when it could be used to help the family. What frustrated me the most was my husband's reaction. He didn't exactly side with them, but he didn't back me up either. Instead, he suggested that I hear them out and see if there was a way to compromise. It felt like a betrayal, even though he probably didn't mean it that way. From there, things escalated quickly. The next week, the in-laws called a family meeting. They said they wanted to discuss financial fairness and presented a plan to access the trust fund for a real estate investment. That's when I started to suspect something was off. They were too eager, too insistent, and the whole thing felt calculated. It didn't